This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Michelle Chamberlain.
And I'm Bill Bryant. It's so good to have you with us on WKYT This Morning. It's Friday, March 18th.
Yeah, details on a dangerous discovery outside of a Central Kentucky elementary school.
These are temperatures we have not felt in almost 2 weeks. 30s outside early this morning and a couple of 40s mixed in. Get into the afternoon, though, it warms really rapidly. Talking 63, another good-looking day in store. Obviously, we're focused on the weekend with that rain and snow. I'm going to show you if we're expecting accumulation and where coming up.
March is definitely a great time to be a basketball fan in the Bluegrass, of course. Today, a Lexington school is looking to keep its run in the Boys Sweet 16 alive, and the UK women's team is warming up for tournament play as well. WKYT's Mike Byer is live in what will be a busy downtown Lexington. Good morning, Mike.
Every basketball fan dreams of this time of year. And if you're a true lover of the game, then Lexington is the place to be this weekend. The KHSAA Boys Sweet 16 tournament picks back up today here at Rupp Arena. Top-ranked Paul Lawrence Dunbar will take on Bowling Green this afternoon at 1:30 with a trip to the Final Four on the line. Then later today, South Laurel will take on South Oldham starting at 8 p.m. Basketball action will pick back up tomorrow. The Kentucky women will kick off a school record 7th consecutive NCAA tournament appearance. They'll take on the Bulldogs of UNC Asheville at 4 p.m. on ESPN2. The game will be right here in Lexington on their home court at Memorial Coliseum. Now, all this basketball action going on this weekend is expected to draw in a lot more people to Lexington, which means a lot more traffic, and I think it's also a safe bet to say that all restaurants and bars will be packed to the rooftops with people watching these games. Live in Lexington, Mike Byer, WKYT.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. A lot of action and a lot of fun going on certainly right now. The time this morning is 6:04 on WKYT. And in other news, it was a disturbing discovery. Police say someone found heroin right outside a Montgomery County elementary school. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk with reaction to that from parents. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. And some of them are saying that they're scared for the safety of their students after the small bag of heroin was found on the sidewalk outside Mount Sterling Elementary School after a blood drive 2 days ago. School administrators say none of their young students were in danger because the drugs were discovered long after the school had closed for the day. The disturbing find comes as drug use spikes in the community. The sheriff tells WKYT that 3 out of 4 calls that they responded to last Friday were all drug related. The problem is so big, school administrators say they cannot fight it alone, so they're inviting parents and students to a public forum at the Montgomery County High School in 2 weeks.
There is accessibility to drugs if people want them, and it's unfortunate and it's sad, but as a parent, you need to know what to look out for.
One woman who has children in the elementary school says she saw some of those signs of drug use in the park next to the school. We'll take a look at her concerns as well as the possible reason for the increase in heroin-related issues in Montgomery County coming up at 6:30. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. And new this morning, a woman's dog followed a man who police say broke into her home. Lexington police say a man kicked in the woman's door on Mount Rushmore Way off Pimlico Parkway about 2:30 this morning. Police say he attacked her and then left, and the woman's dog then chased after him. Police found the man nearby and arrested him on an unrelated warrant. They're still trying to figure out how he knows the victim.
For the 5th time this week, Lexington police are investigating a shooting. The most recent case happened yesterday in the Palomar Center parking lot. Police say a 19-year-old was shot in the leg and later showed up at a hospital. Just like the last 4 shootings this week, police say the victim is not cooperating and he has non-life-threatening injuries. Police are looking for a man suspected in a Lexington robbery. They released this surveillance picture. Police say the man seen here used credit cards that were stolen from a robbery victim last month. They say the cards were all used at stores in the Richmond Road area. They think the man may be driving a black 4-door vehicle or SUV.
Well, the wife of a fallen Richmond police officer is doing all she can to keep her husband's legacy alive. Officer Daniel Ellis was shot and killed in the line of duty last November. His widow has organized a memorial 5K run, and that is set for tomorrow. It will benefit the Daniel Ellis Memorial Foundation. 1,500 people are expected to take part. The race begins at 8:30 tomorrow morning at the Richmond Center off I-75.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Have a pretty good look at day in store. It's a great way to finish off your work week. We're outside at the moment with nothing falling out of the sky. No real fog issues either. We have some cooler, crisp air filtering on in, and you can see that on our temperatures map. Look, it's been 12 days since we've seen temperatures like these, below 40 degrees, and we're sitting there in the 30s. So it's a cold start, we'll put it that way, because we've just been getting used to the 40s and 50s overnight, and now here we are in the 30s, 34 now in Mount Sterling. Winchester, my friends there, good morning to you guys as we're sitting there with temperatures right around 37, 38 degrees, 35 in Frankfort, 37 in Lexington and down south. We're even at 30 degrees in Monticello. You know what? We'll even have 20s in the forecast later on the 7-day. I'm going to show you that in just a few minutes. Later on this afternoon, we're at 63, a beautiful day in store. Then we hit the evening. Evening is just fine. If you have any plans, stick to them, go out, enjoy the evening. Off into the night and into tomorrow morning, that's where it gets interesting. Look at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And this is another system just like 2 to 3 weeks ago where just a few degrees, 2 to 4 degrees, I mean, you're talking about makes a big difference in this forecast. It's a very gripping forecast, and we're going to be looking towards Saturday and Sunday for the rain and snow mix. Not just rain, not just snow, but a mixture of both. Watch this. Here's 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. You got any plans? Just know you will have some rain around, and also looking for the possibility of some snow already flying through the sky. I-64 northbound, models continue to indicate that is the best area for at least the chance of some snowfall. Light accumulation expected in isolated spots. So if you're sitting there in Lexington, we could have accumulation there, but you go into Frankfort, no accumulation. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly where it's going to happen. I'm saying it's isolated spots here and there. I don't look for widespread snow tomorrow there on the ground, but nonetheless, a few spots will pick up some light accumulation. We head toward noontime, and it really picks up. Look at the 30s there toward Moorhead and Ashland. Look where that snow is really starting to impact across 64. These models go back and forth, though. I'm telling you this, it's a low confidence on an accumulation, but high confidence that we'll actually see some snowflakes flying around mixed in. That goes off into Saturday evening and off into the night. It fades away just a bit, but I do expect on Sunday another shot to dive on in here, especially as we head south of I-64. That's where you have that, once again, rain-snow mix. So, Michelle, we're talking Saturday. It looks like I-64 northbound for the rain, snow, or the snow really mixing in. And then go on Sunday, it looks like southbound. That's your best opportunity. But all in all, still, light accumulations are possible and isolated spotty areas here and there. It's not widespread, but it's still around, right?
You know, and I said it this morning, this weather's so fickle.
It is fickle. That's
my grandmother would say. That's so fickle.
That's so fickle. That's good.
Thank you so much, Micah. Each morning we're bringing weather and traffic together. Here's Officer Don with a look at what's happening on the roads.
Good morning. Well, no wrecks at the moment on the circle, at least. The inner and outer loops seem to be moving okay. Just checked in between Alumni over to Versailles Road. All the exit ramps holding their own. Let's get a look outside and we'll show you what to expect. Looking at traffic flow first, get a live view of what's happening out there in real time. Inbound Tates Creek Road, also Versailles Road from Woodford County, and Paris Pike looks great both directions. Drive times this morning, another major impacting us just yet, so it's a smooth ride in from Nicholasville, 12 to 15 minutes depending on when you leave. Also, Harrodsburg Road looks good, and if you're coming in from Winchester, about 28 minutes. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you so much. Everybody have some patience and enjoy the crowds that are in Lexington for the Sweet 16 and for the women's NCAA tournament. This
yeah,
is
you have to remember
time.
It's a fun time.
It is.
So you can't get
Absolutely
frustrated.
It is. And the time this morning is 6:11, and WKYT this morning off and running with all the latest news. We're back in just a moment.
The battle lines are drawn, but the fight over President Obama's Supreme Court nominee is just beginning.
And hear from a clerk who pulled a baby to safety as the child's mother collapsed on the floor.
Welcome back to WKYT this morning. Your time now is 6:15.
It's early. Feels earlier for a lot of folks who stayed up late and watched that ball game, right?
But thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid says he's confident that President Obama's pick for Supreme Court can withstand what Republican opponents throw at him.
Obama's pick has been Merrick Garland, and he has been chosen to fill the seat left vacant by the death of Antonin Scalia. The appeals court judge visited Democratic senators yesterday. Republicans are vowing to reject any Obama nominee, although some now say they will meet with him. On the campaign trail, calls to stop Donald Trump from becoming the GOP presidential nominee are growing louder this morning. Former Republican presidential candidate Lindsey Graham is throwing his support behind Ted Cruz. After dropping out of the race, Marco Rubio continues to stress that Trump's nomination would fracture the Republican Party. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders conceded defeat to Hillary Clinton in Missouri's primary, earning her a 5-state sweep in Tuesday's contests. The FBI is investigating a piece of suspicious mail that was sent to Donald Trump's son. The mailing was addressed to Eric Trump at his address at Trump Park East in Central Park. The postmark was from Massachusetts.
2 robbery suspects were killed, 2 others taken into custody, and 1 transported to the hospital after a shootout with Houston police. 5 suspects attempted to rob a furniture store. A tactical unit was tracking the group of robbers all day, according to police. Eventually, police tracked them to the store where the gunfire broke out. Baltimore Ravens cornerback Trey Walker is in critical condition after police say he was involved in a dirt bike crash in Miami. Police say he was riding with no lights when he collided with a Ford Escape. Walker was selected in the 4th round of the 2015 NFL Draft. He played in 8 games last season, mostly on special teams. A convenience store clerk near Denver is being credited for her quick thinking that saved a baby. The child's mother was holding the baby at the counter when the clerk saw her face glaze over, and as you can see there, the clerk grabbed the baby just before the mother collapsed to the floor.
She came back into the store to tell me thank you for saving her baby, that she's had seizures all her life, and if I wouldn't have been there, she didn't know what would have happened to her baby.
Wow. The clerk handed the baby to another customer and called 911 and made sure the mother kept breathing. She says she believes in good karma and hopes that if something like that ever happened to her, somebody would help her too. And I'm sure that mother will always be grateful, Bill.
Well, absolutely. Everybody doing the right thing at the right time in a tough situation there. Time this morning is 6:17 on WKYT, and the Commerce Department says the country's trade deficit jumped to $484 billion. That's the highest level since 2008 and an increase of 24% over 2014. The U.S. made fewer exports, in part due to a strong dollar and weakening economies overseas. Well, Bumblebee and Tri-Union Seafoods are recalling thousands of cans of tuna. Bumblebee says some 32,000 cases may have been contaminated during a factory sterilization process. The company says eating that tuna could be life-threatening, but there are no reports of anyone getting sick at this point. Tri-Union Seafoods recalled about 3,000 cases of its Chicken of the Sea brand that may be undercooked. According to a new report, Americans spent a record $60 billion on their pets last year. Driving the increase, a 12% rise in spending on grooming, boarding, and training for their pets. Millennials and baby boomers helped to lead that surge. Everybody loves their pets, right?
Just proof of it, right?
Yeah.
WKYT this morning is just getting started. A romantic ceremony and not so romantic place. Why this couple is taking their love on the road in 6 minutes.
Things are pretty quiet right now, but the rain increases overnight and into tomorrow, and we'll also see that snow mixed in too. I'm going to show you who can expect any accumulation coming up.
Micah requested this real quick, you know.
It's a good way to start the day. Your Friday.
Just got to get you going.
I like that.
Time this morning is 6:24. See, ask and you receive. Now, a Missouri couple must have found the luck of the Irish because they got back a 12-carat diamond wedding ring that was lost in a mountain of trash.
Check this out. Realizing they'd accidentally thrown away the ring worth almost $500,000, they immediately called the sanitation department. Now, after digging through an 8-ton pile of garbage, amazingly, the couple was able to find their diamond in the rough. Some people want to travel to all 50 states.
Moving on.
I'm still shocked that they lost a $500,000 ring in the trash.
And in that pile of trash, it is amazing,
Well,
isn't
that
it?
and that they spent that much money on the ring. But anyway, that's another story. So some people want to travel to all 50 states, but this couple wants to renew their wedding vows in each one.
Larry and Jane Cisco said their I-do's at the Hillbilly Hot Dogs up in Lesage, West Virginia. That is a hot dog joint that is now adding wedding services to its menu, so, you get it, right? The New Jersey duo has exchanged vows in 11 states so far. They were the first wedding customers for the hot dog joint that is formally opening itself as a wedding chapel later on today, but they were there. Really said some sweet things during the exchange of vows, by the way.
And now they go a little emotional.
Yeah, now they go state to state. There you go. All right, this was a question a little while back. What does the fox say?
Oh, so that's what he says, huh? A Vine video of a pet fox in Michigan who laughs on command was viewed more than 35 million times in 3 days. Now, in the competitive social media world of grumpy cats, screaming goats, and horses wearing suits, those numbers are nothing to laugh about, right?
Oh, that's right. But that's pretty interesting.
That was a painful noise, by the way, in our ear.
Well, first of all, I'm taken aback by having a pet fox. That's interesting. And then he makes that interesting noise. Okay, well, it is Friday morning, everybody, and your weekend is on the way, and it is 6:26 on WKYT This Morning.
When WKYT This Morning returns, could a free college education become a reality here in Kentucky? We're tracking the progress of a new bill in the state legislature at 6:30.
All of our top stories are coming up. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $25 million. Saturday night's Powerball jackpot is $80 million. We'll be right back on WKYT.